So I went to the dentist today. Got
How do
a
you feel about the dentist? I know some people are like
hate it.
dreading it.
I hate it.
Really? I'm pretty indifferent to it, honestly.
But that's not why. So I haven't been to the dentist since pre-COVID. Like
Oh yeah, that's
2019,
pretty bad.
and that is not out of like fear or out of hating the dentist or anything. It is literally out of like out of sight, out of mind. Like if I had that 6-month appointment, I would have hit it, but I canceled it because of COVID. And then I never picked it back up.
Yeah,
Never
that's fair.
started going again. And what finally shook me free, a dentist office opened literally across the street from me. And so it has been like every time I leave my house, it's been like, God, I should really go to the dentist. And so I went
No,
today and got
I was
like
just gonna say similar for my eye appointment, right? Like I missed last year, so it's just been like a year and a half now, and I'm out of date for that. But
I've never
But
gone.
anyways, go
I
ahead.
have not
You've
been to an
never
eye
gone?
doctor since I was 5 years old.
oh no,
I've been planning to do that as well because I think I didn't even have vision insurance until this year. I didn't pay for it, but it's like
it's so cheap.
it's a few dollars a month. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I picked up vision insurance this year. That's on my list. But dentist was more important because like I didn't know this. Did you know that like having plaque on your teeth, like you eventually experience bone loss?
Well, I didn't know about bone loss, but I know about like heart disease and stuff. That's
Yeah.
correlated
Well,
to.
kinda. Yeah. But I have fairly good dental hygiene habits. I brush, I floss.
Yeah.
All that. But yeah, I went in today, no cavities, which is like I'm very
Nice.
grateful for. I've never had a cavity in my life. I think that's more to genetics. I do brush twice a day and floss, but like I know
Yeah.
people that do that and get 4 cavities a year. Like,
Well, how much like sugar do you eat? I think it's more related to that, right?
yeah, probably less than the average American, probably. Considering celiac disease and all, I cook. I am forced to know what's in my food, so
Right.
because of people who know what's in their food tend to eat healthier just because it like is horrifying otherwise.
Right.
um
It's best not to know, because if you know, you're scared.
but yeah, it's been 5 years since I went to the dentist. I'm actually going back tomorrow for the proper cleaning. They got me in that quick, not because it was some emergency or something. They just like
Oh,
said
so
something.
this was just like a setup kind of thing?
Yeah,
Like X-ray?
X-rays and like look at how bad it is. Which
The damage.
I think they assigned me like a medium cleaning. Like it's more than like a normal cleaning, but not like the not the worst of the worst. So
I feel like that's pretty good for like not going in
me
half
too.
a decade.
I'm pretty happy with it. I do expect a pretty painful. They said they may give me like Novocaine or something because they have to.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because of like gum disease and stuff. They have to really get in there.
Mm.
You don't need that kind of thing when you actually go every 6 months. That's like the best reason to go every 6 months is that it's like I've had dental insurance since I was 21 years old, by the way. Like
Yeah.
I've had no excuse not it literally did not save me money. It was just like executive dysfunction. I just kept forgetting.
Yeah, it's just like a lot to do, honestly.
Yeah.
I think it's actually been over a year for me too, so I'm like past due.
Yeah,
as
if
well.
you can get that, like if you make the appointment on your way out the door, it's easy. But I just forget. But no more. I'm back on the grind. I also wanted to just say, having a dentist across the street from you is like that's just a world I never thought I'd live in. Like
Yeah, man, like living in an
walkable
urban
city.
setting is pretty nice.
I really like all that. Like my family's always blown away. Like I walk to my vet appointments. I have several dentists within walking distance, doctor's offices, hospitals, all of that within a 15-minute walk. But this one was crazy to me because like I've always been to the suburban dentist where like you have privacy. And I walked into this place and immediately like from the lobby, I could see one of the chairs that somebody was sitting in. Like there was a window or something. And it was like I couldn't see the person, but I could see the chair. But worse than that, I walked into the room I was in and literally there's a window in front of me facing the sidewalk. So like a particularly nosy bystander could stand outside and watch me get my teeth
I guess
cleaned.
so. But like, who would do that?
I don't
sort of
know,
thing?
but it's
That's
weird
crazy.
to me that they could. Like
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And I've walked by this place a million times and I never thought of that until I was the man in the chair.
Yeah.
It's just a different world. Also, no TV screen or anything on the ceiling. Maybe I'm accustomed to child dentists because it's been so long since I've gone to one. But no No, nothing. You just sit there with your thoughts while they scrape your teeth.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it's like. I think like thinking back to my recent appointments. Fun fact: I still have a baby tooth.
Really?
It just never
came
fell out.
Huh.
Every time I go to the dentist, they're like, "Yep, it's still there. It's still strong. Like it'll probably fall out at some point."
I think I
Because
had
like
to
I don't have an adult tooth behind it or
Oh,
whatever. So it's just a
interesting.
baby tooth. So
I
like, once it's
also
gone, I'll be missing a tooth.
I had some messed up teeth stuff because of a tricycle accident as a kid. I rode a trike down some stairs and bit the curb pretty hard and had to get like
Oh, man.
emergency dental surgery as a kid. And as a result of that, I had like a baby tooth come in like backwards, like in the back of my mouth, kind of. And so I had to have like
Yeah.
a chain pull that into place, or not a baby tooth.
Dude,
I
I
had an
had
old
the,
tooth.
dude, I had the same thing happen. I'm not even kidding. Like, and it wasn't. I don't know.
No trike
It
accident.
like wasn't due to some accident. I was just weird, right? Like there was like a tooth coming in like sideways, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna have to like put you to sleep and do this surgery
Yeah.
and like fix it with a chain or whatever."
I had to have
pretty-
two of my
pretty
front
nerve-wracking.
teeth. Fortunately, not my like literal front teeth, but the ones to the right and left of those came in soft adult teeth. So even though I never had a cavity, I do have two caps on those teeth.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
dude.
too bad.
I'm just like
I'm not natty.
remembering all this tooth stuff now. I remember once as a kid, like we went to the dentist. Like I was like pretty young, probably like 10 or less.
Yeah.
And they told me something kind of scary. Like I don't remember what it was, but I remember freaking out. Like I had to lose a tooth or something bad would happen. I don't remember the specifics, and obviously I probably misunderstood it as a kid too. They're like, "Okay, we're gonna check in a few months to see if it's like loosened up a little bit." Right? But I was just like,
Yeah.
I gotta lose this tooth.
The
I gotta lose
dentists-
this tooth. And then later that night, I just ripped it out. And there was like blood everywhere, and it was awful.
Because you were
And
so
it was just like
scared.
really stupid. Yeah, like I was so scared.
That's so
like,
funny.
What would happen if I didn't lose this tooth? So I like tore the tooth out.
Dentists are like worse than other doctors in my experience at like not making you afraid. Like I'm in there today and the dentist is like looking at my mouth and he's like, "Oh yeah, you where you haven't been in a while, you've experienced some bone loss." And I'm like, "A bone loss? What is that? Is that bad or
That's
something?"
crazy.
And he
Yeah.
said like, "No, like as long as you come in for cleanings every 6 months from now on, like it's probably fine." It's like,
I mean, I don't know if I believe that. I think that
like,
I don't want to lose bone.
I'd like to have all my bones. Yeah. Like, I don't know, but like I have I don't know. My dad, I know, went through like a 10-year spell where he didn't go to the dentist. Like over
Yeah.
10 years. Granted, his grill
No,
is messed up after that. Like he's got
A lot of Americans are just really bad about
yeah.
like,
well,
regular health upkeep.
yeah,
things
because
like
they
that.
don't want to go bankrupt.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I definitely, it was an adjustment to me to like be in a job that was insured and everything. Like,
Yeah.
where I could and should go. Like, I need blood work done too. I was supposed to get blood work in like October, and then my
Dude,
bike
there's a place.
got stolen.
I'm going to
and-
tell you right now.
Yeah.
There's a place in Charleston where you can get it done for cheap, and you can get like everything.
Oh, it's covered, dude. I got the insurance.
Oh, it's covered,
Like, It's
okay.
covered. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know.
good.
I don't have to pay
Yeah.
for anything. I have to ride my bike over to the hospital, and I keep forgetting to do it. And you don't even make an
Yeah.
appointment for blood work. You can just go in
Dude,
and do
blood
it.
work. Blood work is pretty important. I
I know.
gotta say, like
I need
it
to
tells you a lot of stuff.
No, this is not new to me. I am actually a guy who gets a lot of blood work done. I got a
Yeah.
low platelet count, which makes me God's perfect programmer because I basically cannot have a clot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
I think.
yeah, well, as long as I don't sustain a brain injury or something, yeah,
Yeah.
brain bleed. That's why I wear a helmet when I bike.
When you bike.
Yep.
Right. No other reason.
Nope. No, the real reason I wear a helmet is so they can't blame me when a car kills me.
Dude, yeah, we've talked about it before on the show, but that's like a real fear I have with biking. Which
Oh,
is
it's
like one of
not
the
an unreasonable fear, unfortunately. Yeah.
reasons I don't do it. But
I do think if you come and ride with me for a bit, you'd like get used to it.
I'd get used
but
to it. Yeah,
You do
you
like
always have that in the back of your head, you know.
no, you cannot rest on your laurels for sure. Like it'll they some not all of them, but enough of them that you have to suspect them want to kill you.
Right. Yeah.
So love living in the city though.
Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Sam, and beyond today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey.
and only Connor this time. Mike is busy working. And today we're going to talk about a recent Jason Schreier article titled "Video Games Need to Be Cheaper to Buy." And we can link the article in the description of the episode, but I think this article brings up some interesting points, and I also think it opens up the larger discussion of video game pricing in 2026, how we got here, why it is the way it is, and how we feel about it. And I have a feeling we're going to have a pretty interesting discussion today, because I think we might differ on a few of these points, Connor. And I did want to rope Mike into this discussion too, because I think he'd have a pretty valuable perspective, but sadly he's not here, so we're going to have to carry the torch
too busy
here.
earning that money to
Right,
get
to buy
$70 video games. Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we can start with just kind of like an overview of the article and then get into some of our thoughts. So in the article, Jason Schreier, for those who don't know, he's like probably the most renowned journalist in the video game industry. He works for Bloomberg, and he wrote about a meeting at DICE, which is a video game developer convention.
It's a video game executive convention, was my impression.
Is it? I don't know. A place where video game creators go.
Yeah.
And
it's like one of the lines is so at DICE where executives gather to schmooze. Like,
I think, but DICE is all the developers.
All of them.
DICE,
okay,
I'm pretty sure. But one of the main topics of discussion there was Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and specifically its success with its price point. Right. So Claire Obscure was a $50 game. Right? Is that right?
It was $50, but many people only paid $40 because it was 20% off at launch.
Right.
And so I played it on Game Pass.
$50 game. It was on Game Pass as well. Sold copies out the wazoo. Won more Game of the Year awards than any game in history. Right? Like one of the most acclaimed and successful games ever at this point. And people here are looking at Claire Obscure and thinking like, how do we kind of learn from the success of this game? Because the current state of the video game industry, and especially the AAA video game industry, is unsustainable, right? With the ballooning costs of video game development, and the sales not really keeping up with the costs. So the article is kind of focused on Claire Obscure, its $50 price point, and the success it saw. But it kind of goes into like the progression after COVID of like the shift from going from physical to digital and how that kind of helped the situation, because with physical games there was these companies had to pay manufacturing costs and pocketed less money, but even that, the shift to digital
that's always really bothered me, because manufacturing costs, shipping costs, all of that, those savings have never, not a penny of that outside of Steam was ever passed on to the consumer. I would argue on Steam, with their very quick, deep discounts, did a little bit. I guess I don't know the PSN store today, maybe doing that, but
yeah. So like, I mean, sales and discounts are the name of the game now. But back when it was primarily physical, right? Like it was a different world where, and he gets into it in the article as well, where like there was a time and place that we both remember where like video games would sell by virtue of them being visible on a Walmart shelf.
Right.
Like, and that is largely irrelevant now. Like everyone's accustomed to a digital ecosystem. And not only that, we're spoiled for choice. There's seemingly infinite options, right? Like paid or otherwise, right? So how do video game companies compete for your time and money in this new world we live in? So that's kind of like a really quick overview of the article, but like, okay, let's just get into it. What do you make of video games need to be cheaper to buy? Let's just go with your thoughts on this and go from there.
My take on this is that AAA needs to adopt the same sliding scale that indie has, because I've played a game that I think is worth $70 before, like Claire Obscure, frankly.
So I 100% agree with you there, but like,
and like GTA 5 has the sauce to be $70 for sure, but like,
yeah, but the production values are clearly there, right?
But something like Mario Kart World does not have the chops to be $80. Something, and granted,
Yeah.
the sales do not agree with me. Although I think if it weren't for the Mario Kart World bundle, I think we'd maybe be seeing a different picture there. I think something like sometimes based on pedigree, even Assassin's Creed Shadows maybe shouldn't have been as expensive as it was, considering their reputation at the time. Maybe maybe at $50, I'd have picked up Assassin's Creed Shadows probably.
But you have to look at also the studio. It's such a complicated equation, and I don't think anyone can really solve it. Right? Like it in reality, it's mostly based on vibes. Right?
Yes.
You have to kind of nail the feeling of pricing of the game by taking into account all sorts of factors. Like with Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, I agree with you. Like if we're strictly talking about game quality, it's probably a $50, maybe $60 game.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you look at the historical sales of Assassin's Creed, especially the most recent entries with Valhalla and Odyssey, those games sold bonkers amounts, right? So to Ubisoft, selling this game like of course we're going to price it.
They should be hitting the highest price that they can, and that is the equation, right? The equation should not be based on game quality. The equation, we live in a capitalist world. The equation they should be doing, and it's the one Jason Schreier is talking about here, is like you should be selling at the price point that generates the most money. And so there is an argument that lowering the price would increase sales so much that it offsets that lower price. I don't know that I certainly don't think that's true for a game like Pokemon. I don't think that's true for Mario Kart even. I think, they've got such a stranglehold on their audience, they can charge what they want. But there are a lot of other games, like Sony is taking a lot of swings right now with new properties. Those could probably afford a lower price tag. What was Concord at launch? Was Concord 40 or was it Concord 60?
I think Concord was 60.
Okay.
Let's double check that though. No, it was 40.
It was 40. Okay, so they've already taken this to heart. Yeah.
I mean, but case in point though, people weren't willing to pay $40 for Concord.
But right? But
if like it was free, it might have, maybe things would have gone a little different.
Highguard was free.
We don't know. Yeah, well, rip Highguard, yeah.
Although who knows what would have happened to Highguard if not for Concord. But
at the end of all of this though, like it all keeps coming back to, and maybe this is a little naive to say, but it really does keep coming back to game quality. If your game has the sauce, it'll sell, right? Like, I feel like that is an ironclad golden rule that a lot of people forget, right? But like at the end of the day, you just gotta have a freaking good, appealing game.
Right. So like two other names dropped in the article are Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. The Outer Worlds 2 was supposed to be $80. They initially
tried to, Microsoft initially tried to push $80 for that.
That is an absurd price tag for...
That game would have completely bombed.
It would have been the first game to sell negative copies. Avowed also not a game that was worth $70 in my opinion. And not a bad game, but... and I played it on Game Pass, but... that game, me playing it, it felt like a $40 game to me. Like it felt like it would have been far more
it's so tough because like we are kind of. I understand this discussion might make a few people uncomfortable, but like I like to be honest and candid here. We're kind of in the same economic bracket, right?
And I would put both of us in a very high income bracket.
We don't really struggle with the pricing of video games, right? No. Even if it's like $60 or $70. So like our perspective, you have to take everything we say from that lens, right? So I fully acknowledge that.
When I don't buy a game, it's me turning my nose up at something I don't think is a good value. It's basically never because I can't do it. And like that does put us in a different place than a lot of people.
I did want to just get that out there so you can look at what we're saying through that lens.
Right.
So that being said, right, and what I'm going to say now is probably going to make a lot of people angry. But overall, like, yes, I do agree with you that the dynamic video game pricing needs to be more of a thing. But taken as a whole, overall, I still think video games as a whole are priced pretty fairly, especially when you look at the price, like 20 years ago compared to now. How much the price hasn't increased compared to other goods that are being sold, right?
No, I agree with that.
And obviously, like you look at things like you need food, you need housing. Like, obviously, those things should be cheaper, and they're not, right? Like, those things have inflated scores, like insane amounts more than video games. And video games is not a need, right? It is a luxury kind of entertainment good. And comparatively, right, like the price has not. And granted, like everything else should be lower. I do think that. But like when you look at the current situation where everything's hyperinflating out the wazoo, video games have kind of really stayed relatively stagnant with minor increases over the years. So I do think
I agree largely with your point. I will like to push back on it a little bit. If you look at consumer electronics, which I think you could argue video games are a part of, the cost of those have largely plummeted in the past 20 years. Like a good TV used to be thousands of dollars, and now you can get a perfectly reasonable TV for a few $100.
TVs are a great point, but then you also look at, laptops and phones, where I would argue they're, like you can get a super cheap phone or you can get a super cheap laptop, but like the laptop and phone that most people want are, the average price of that has drastically increased over the years.
Yeah.
I would argue.
I think iPhones are cheaper than ever now. Or did Android just get more expensive?
No, they're both like hovering around that $800 to $1,000 price point, which is kind of crazy, right? Like that's a lot to pay.
It is a lot
for
something you're probably just reading, right, or looking at Instagram Reels, looking at TikToks on. But
right.
But there's a status thing to those that I don't. Outside of PC gaming, I think there's very little status to video games, and even on PC gaming, it's like not really. Like you don't take your PC out with you.
It's a tough comparison, right? Like I'm not even talking about hardware here. I'm talking about
you're
games,
talking software.
Right? I think hardware might be a completely different discussion, but games, right? Like you look at the prices of, I don't know, like books, right? Like books, I feel like probably are more expensive than they were 20 years ago, but like I don't think by a radical amount.
I don't think they are. But like, I know ebooks are very rarely cheaper than physical books, and that makes me mad. For the same reason, digital games are not cheaper than physical games makes me mad. I do think
you look at like movies, like Blu-rays and stuff. Like that's all kind of
that stuff's
in
expensive.
line with video games, right? Yeah. But like
my problem is like moralizing about it. I don't think is the point of the article. Like, and by moralizing I mean like, do we think that it's a good deal? Well, like personally. What I think the point of the article is that maybe if they did lower the price, they would actually make more money. And I think that's...
Yeah, and I think that's a very game-by-game thing, right?
I do too, yeah.
Because
like I said, Pokemon
I think a lot of these companies are just scared to do it, right? Like, because if they lower the price on the new, I don't know, Far Cry or whatever, I'm just picking something random here.
Yeah.
If they lower the price on the new Far Cry and that doesn't get people to buy it, right? Like maybe they sell the same amount as they would have at
then
like
they've
$70,
just left money on the table.
And all of a sudden, right, like that franchise is hemorrhaging. And as we know in the AAA space, it's basically one mistake and you're done.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's that level of like risk now with a lot of these franchises, a lot of these studios.
And that is why I kind of disagree with Jason Schreier. I feel like towards the end of his article, he does sort of say that the takeaway is that $70 won't be the new norm for much longer. And I do not think that is the case. I think $70 is going to be the norm. I just don't think I think all these executives want to sit around and talk about Clair Obscur, but I do not believe any of them are capable of learning a lesson. I don't, not from this.
I mean, and it's tough too, right? Like, and it goes back, this actually ties in quite nicely with High Guard,
right,
where like you read the opinions of the people working on that game and they thought they had struck gold, right? And it wasn't just them, the people they had play tested with, they were getting positive feedback over and over and over and over and over again, right? So in their mind, they're like, okay, we're going to put this out and it's going to make a lot of money. And what happens, right? Like they put it out, it's dead, right? Like it's another
DOA,
Concord, basically.
Yeah. It did better than Concord. It had 100,000 players.
It did do better than Concord.
Yeah.
But my point is that these companies just can't know, right? Like it's so hard to know. Like
I agree and
I
I
feel like,
disagree.
yes, you sometimes, like, if you have a game of Clair Obscur's quality, you know you have something special, right?
Mhm.
But you don't know if that'll resonate with people. I just don't think it's possible to know that until you release a game. Unless it's something like, GTA 6 or Pokemon.
Or Call
like
of
you said.
Duty or Mario Kart.
Or
yeah.
Call of Duty, right? But, like, if you're not one of those, like, literally everyone in the world knows what this franchise is, it is a risk.
But what's interesting
Right.
is it's the people that are doing new things that are finding great success with this mixed pricing. Like look at Embark with Arc Raiders. I think that was $40. And $40 is, that is pretty steep for an unknown quantity in my opinion. But I think that game is an amazing value at $40. I've played more of that than Battlefield 6, certainly.
Yeah, no, I think that's an amazing success story too. But, like, at the end of the day, it is a risk, right? Like, it all comes down to, like, are you willing to risk your basically bet everything on the price point? Like, that price point decision is so important.
It is, and it's one of the hardest decisions to make as a small developer too, because the bad calculus that developers do very frequently, and I see this all the time, is that you sit down and you think, I poured years of my life into this product. Gamers should pay $25 for it. And the reality is your game is a 2D puzzle platformer. Nobody's paying $25 for it. Put it at 5, put it at 10, whatever, depending on the quality.
Like, it's so important to have, I don't know, some kind of third-party consultant.
You have to have consultants, and you have to do... And you can't A/B test price, and that's a problem. You can pre-launch, kind of. You can, like, bring people in, have them play it, and say, like, hey, would you pay X amount for this? But that is, would you and did you are very different questions.
Right, like, and plus, even if you do that, right,
people lie.
It's all hypothetical until people actually pay for it, right? So you just can't, it's so tough, you can't know.
And then there's also the economic conditions of the day. Like, economic conditions are quite bad right now. And so who knows if, I think things were roaring pretty well 2019. The $70 game might have gone down a little smoother, but now nobody can afford to live.
But here's the other side of that equation that I think we need to explore. Just don't buy the game at launch, right? You 100%. Wait a year.
I paid.
And then you pay half price or less, right?
Like, how old's Resident Evil 4 Remake now?
Like
a year?
3 years, maybe?
3 years? Okay.
It's time's crazy, right?
It's $15 on Steam.
Yeah, that's a steal, dude. Yeah. That's an incredible...
Resident Evil 2
2023, remake. Yeah.
Okay, so
3 years. Almost 3 years, yeah.
Assassin's Creed. Monster Hunter Wilds, $40 on Steam right now. Amazing value. And the game and it works now. The game is in a much better state now than it was at launch.
That's actually another huge point as to where, like, I just can't agree with the blanket statement that video games need to be cheaper, because if you just wait, right, like I said, right, it's not food, it's not shelter, like, those things need to be cheaper yesterday. Right?
I do want to...
But video games, you can wait and then spend a paltry, maybe half price or less, and then get that experience.
And if you only have to do that wait. Now, I will say, I am someone who really enjoys the hype around a game. I like playing a game at launch. I like playing it while everybody's talking about it. You do miss out on that. But
you have to be, like, cognizant of your own situation,
your own finances. Right? Yeah. I just don't like to I hate telling somebody to do something that I'm not going to do myself. I hate doing that. I feel icky.
No, I get you. Yeah.
But you are right. Like, I picked up Resident Evil 2 for $10 the other day. Well, I'm going to talk about it later. That game slaps.
$10 for Resident Evil 2? Unbelievable.
For quite a bit of excellent content. Cheaper than going to see a movie today. And
plus, this might be another discussion, but, like, the price you pay for a game 9 out of 10 times impacts your enjoyment of the game, even though it really shouldn't, right? You should take the game for what it is, but, like, obviously we live in the real world, so you can't really divorce the...
No, I'll never forget getting Terraria for $2.50.
Yeah.
And then playing it for 600 hours.
And, dude, like, I mean, the poster child of this, Hollow Knight Silk Song for $20.
Yeah.
Just... My God.
I think it's fascinating that isn't mentioned in this. Oh, it is mentioned in the article, but it's not the one everybody was talking about. I think Clair Obscur has all the executives bothered because it looks like their games.
It looks like their games, and the team structure, I mean, is similar, right? Like, Hollow Knight was 3 dudes, right? Like, it's a very rare kind of case. Like there's not a lot of games being made like Hollow Knight.
No.
But there are a lot of games being made like Clair Obscur, and they did it right.
And they're
right?
So those games are
obviously they're paying
costing more
attention.
to make and costing more at sale a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I do
Yes.
wonder what the answer is.
And not making as much money.
Yeah.
Which is the key there.
Because they're not as good. Like that just is what it
Yeah.
is. But
yeah, I mean, like that's the frustrating thing about all this. Like, I feel like I could answer this question by just saying the game needs to be good.
The game
and,
needs
like,
to be
that's
very
the,
good.
That's
yeah.
the end of it, right? Like,
there is no like Monster Hunter Wilds could have been $80, and I don't know if it would have sold as many copies, but I'd have still bought it, and I'd have been mad about it day one, and then I'd have probably never talked about it again.
No, I feel that way about certain games, dude. Like, and I mean, Clair Obscur is one of them, right? I bought it at launch, and then I bought the collector's edition, which I think I showed you earlier. So I paid like, $150 plus for Clair Obscur.
So I do kind of want to talk about the Nintendo of it all, which is like Nintendo's getting, I think, worse than anyone else about all this. $80 for Mario Kart World. I know I've been harsh about Mario Kart World.
They have not broached that price since, right? Has anything else been $80?
I don't think so. But it's a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
Even Donkey Kong Bonanza at $70, I think, is a little crazy.
Tears of the Kingdom was 80, right? Or was that 70?
Tears was 70. Tears of the Kingdom was their first $70 game, which I also think is very strange that they didn't wait for their new console to do it. Now, I'm not going to say that Tears of the Kingdom isn't worth $70 because I think Breath of the Wild is probably worth $70, and they're the same game, but one's a little worse. But the problem is that Breath of the Wild now, to get Breath of the Wild complete, is like $90. It's $60 for the game. It's $10 for the Switch 2 upgrade, and then it's $20 for the DLC.
Yeah.
$90, and this game is...
Nintendo does seemingly get away with it, though. Right? Nintendo's kind of unique, like kind of unicorn.
They have.
Where they can get away with these pricing decisions.
I want to see...
They're pushing it, right?
What I want to see is the sales numbers for the Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. Because I would not be surprised if they were astronomically low. Because...
I mean, I didn't get it.
I don't know anyone who did, other than YouTubers. And everyone was angry to see this little bit of content for what, it was like $20, I think, to just get a half-baked roguelike mode and a map that doesn't have anything in it. It was a particularly egregious case of Nintendo's greed, which I think is becoming very common lately. They're getting very greedy with their new stuff, and I think love to see it.
I agree with you, but I also want to explore like why are they getting greedy? Why are all these companies getting greedy? Because the industry is kind of running away, right? Like it's going to. I think a crash is inevitable, right? Like the cost to produce games, like the big AAA games, take longer to make and are more expensive to make and are selling less.
Yeah,
right. And obviously that is not a sustainable model, right?
No,
like, what happens?
I mentioned this last week or the week before, but I didn't come up with it. I forget who I was watching. I mentioned it whatever week. I talked about it last time, but somebody pointed out like Activision was originally made up of like former Atari developers, and now we're seeing like Embark is former DICE developers, Sandfall is former Ubisoft developers. Like I think we're seeing the
beginnings of like a course correction almost, where these AAA behemoths split off into smaller devs, and they make smaller scale games that do that are better, are successful,
better games.
And I think that is the sustainable path forward for the industry. But I think we have a long way to go before that becomes normal.
Right.
And
I
see
prefer
a lot
that.
more crashing and burning before we get to that state, if we ever get there.
Yeah. I do think the $70 game is sticking around for a while though.
And to specifically comment on that point, right? Like I said, by and large, I'm okay with paying $70 for my game, but I will say it is a game by game basis thing.
See,
right?
I'm actually
sometimes I buy a game for $70 and I'm like, I can't believe I paid $70 for this. Other times I buy a game for $70. I'm like,
I can't believe I
take my money. This was awesome.
No, I definitely, there are games that I would have bought at launch that I didn't because it was $70. That is happening more and more frequently. Let's look no further than Metroid Prime 4. $60, I buy that game for sure.
Oh,
Now,
really?
granted, I
Yeah.
could have bought it for $60 on Switch 1. It was $70 on Switch 2. But no, $70 for what I think is like probably the worst Metroid Prime game, which is the lesser series of Metroid games. No, I'm not paying $70 for that. It's absurd. Assassin's Creed Shadows, I kind of wanted to play. Was not going to pay $70 for it. Pragmata looks interesting to me. Probably not going to pay $70 for it. Yeah. And like, there's a big psychological thing happening to me that I don't know if happens to other people, but I think it does. And that is that $60 is $50 and $70 is $100. 70 rounds up every day
It
of the
is
week.
closer,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. Like, I hate to be the defender of. I don't want to be the defender of $70 games. Like, if all games could be $60, I would obviously prefer that. But like, to me, I'm just like, video game prices are only now starting to slowly climb up. They've been so stagnant for so long that I feel
Yeah.
like I'm more tolerant of this than a lot of people, right? And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but
I mean, have they though? I mean, video games were. I don't think I agree that they've just now slowly started to climb up, because I remember in like the early 2000s it was like $30 for a Game Boy game, $50 for a Wii
if we're
game.
talking about handheld, it's a little
Okay, but
different,
$50
right? But,
for a game on the Wii or the Xbox 360.
around the Xbox 360, PS3, Wii era, right? Around 2005 is when we hit the $60 price point,
Yeah.
right? So roughly,
15 years.
20 years,
Yeah, 20 years.
15 years of $60 games, and you look at how other like prices of things inflated into that same time period I'm like, okay, yes, obviously it's not ideal to pay 20% more or whatever,
But you're getting
like,
less.
I'm gonna tolerate it.
But you were getting less for that $60 as time went on too. Like, let's look at Monster Hunter. In the old Monster Hunter games, every bit of post content, other than like G Rank where they would release a whole nother game, that was free. Like, you would get free events that would have free cosmetics. All the cosmetics in the game are included with the price. Now you buy Monster Hunter, it's $70, and there's hundreds of dollars of cosmetic DLC that is not in your $70 purchase now. And those are things that used to just be in the game.
That's fair. Yeah, like a lot of games are like adopting that business model of like the game's $70 and we have microtransactions or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, and just to maybe play devil's advocate a little bit, we always talk about how, like, yes, there are things we don't like about the modern video games industry, but by and large, video games have been getting better and better. And I do believe that like a lot of the games that are priced like, let's say aggressively in 2025, 2026 are just overall better than a lot of the equivalent games we were getting in like 2005, right? Like 2005 was an era where we got like, yes, we got like good games, but we got a lot of like licensed games. We got a lot of like, the Just Dances of the world.
Because of that shelf space economy.
Yes, yeah. Those were easier to sell.
Yeah, those were a lot easier to sell because they were visible.
Digital ecosystems were not really a thing.
Yeah,
so it was a different time.
A smaller good game can get eyes on it and get some sales. Yeah, I agree and disagree. Again, like, the moralizing is kind of pointless. The reality is, I do think that some of these games could make more money at a lower price point. I don't think that they will do that.
Yeah, because it's just like it's seen as a risk, and I get it, right? Like,
but now the other end of this is like do you aggressively go on sale? Because you can launch at $70 and then based on how your game performs, lower the price. But the problem doing that is that you are dicking your day one fans.
Yeah. And you can't do it too much, right? Like we saw what happens with like the 3DS, for example, where like the price was aggressively lowered and Nintendo had effectively gift the early adopters to like not
Yeah,
make
to
them
not
angry,
hurt. Yeah,
right?
I was one of them. Yeah, I had an Ambassador 3DS.
Yeah. So I it's it's tough. I do think that's probably the best way to go about it though, and we do see games do that where they like come out and like a month or two later they're on sale. Not like a drastic sale, mind you, but like say
20%.
it's
Yeah.
a $60 game, it's selling for $48 or something like that.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um and I do think consumers are getting more savvy too, right? Like, yes, obviously there's something to be said about that day one experience, but like so many people are becoming more and more comfortable just waiting. Like, not even a long time, maybe just a couple, like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And then like prices slash by 15-20%.
I am also a big fan of the day one sale. That's becoming more and more common. Maybe not always on
Like if
Steam.
you get it day one, it's like discounted.
Yeah, that was
and then
what
it
Claire
goes back
Obscure
up.
did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing to promote word of mouth. And buying it always has seemed a little backwards to me that when you buy a game day one these days, you are getting the worst version of the product for the highest price, because I swear 80% of games are launching in a cripplingly broken state right now. Man, that's high, 80%. But it's a very
lot of games
frequent
are,
problem. And then they're getting fixed over time. And if you have the patience to wait, if you're not succumbing to the hype cycle, then you pay a lower price and get a complete game that actually works.
Right.
And that's appealing.
Like, I just think back to prime example of this is Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, I
There were
paid
people
like
who
$10
bought
for
that
that
game
game
at launch and beat that game at launch, and I cannot imagine that experience. Right?
I literally I don't think they played a game that is recognizably similar to the one that I played.
Right, yeah. So
yeah,
like,
that's a great example.
I got Cyberpunk like basically after it was content complete, after all the DLC came out.
Yeah.
And
and haven't played it.
I haven't played. I mean, I played a couple hours.
Yeah.
But like, if you had told me this game Once Upon a Time was barely functional,
right,
I wouldn't believe you. Right? Like, it's insanely polished from my perspective. It looks great, runs great.
Right.
But it's just one of those many benefits you get through
No Man's Sky. Although No Man's Sky never launched at
yeah.
a premium price. I think it was $40 at launch. I think.
But even $40
for launch, No Man's Sky was a scam. Yeah, that was absurd.
Yeah.
That was a $10 game, if that, at launch. Now I think it's probably worth the $40, but you can get it for $10.
Yeah.
And again, yeah. So being patient is valuable. That's I'm gonna buy Resident Evil 9 day one.
That's kind of like where I come down on this. Like, should video game prices be lower? Yes, I think. But do they need to be? I don't really think so. I think there are ways around, like, if you're not tolerant of the $70 price point, unless it's
right.
a Nintendo
Yeah, from
game,
the consumer's perspective, the prices need to come down. No, I think you're right. I think you can be frugal. I mean, God, from the consumer's perspective, if you're willing to wait a few months, you can get, if you live in a city, which like 80% of Americans do, you could go to your library and get games for free.
But that's the other thing, though. Like, from the consumer's perspective, that makes sense. But from the company's perspective, like, what are they going to do? Right? Because, like, that's most of the video game sales are like front loaded, right?
Right.
So if no one buys their game at $70 and they fall out of the discussion cycle, and no one's streaming it anymore, there's no YouTube essays being made about it anymore, whatever, right? Like, that's really damaging to that game.
And that might encourage them to launch the next one at a lower price.
Right, yeah. So
yeah.
Or, they take the completely wrong lesson
and charge more to get more out of the hardcore fans. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Which I think is the tack that a lot of them take,
that's what's so difficult to read about the room right now. I'm not going to pretend I'm an economist, but we are living in what's called a K-shaped economy right now, which is a term I'm sure everyone has heard. But it means the highest earners in our economy right now are spending a lot, and they are basically the only source of GDP growth we have right now. Is people who make a lot of money are actually spending more now than usual. Probably because the stock market is performing quite well. But people at the bottom are spending much, much less. And not just the bottom, but like the bottom 90% of people are spending much, much less. And maybe not 90, maybe 80. I don't know. I don't know the numbers. But it really sucks, to see people go up and say how well things are going when you are one of the 80, 90% of people that are not experiencing that.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not economists, but
Right.
like I just don't understand how something like that is sustainable. Where if most of the population, if the entire economy is sustained by people with disposable income,
Right. And I'm sorry, I
right?
forgot
Like,
to finish that point. The point of that is in a K-shaped economy, it might make sense to raise prices because that top percentile of person that is spending more is your customer now. You cannot you are not selling to that bottom percentile anymore. So you want to raise prices because those very wealthy people are not going to stop buying it just because you raised prices. And you
but yeah, like, but what happens when like most of the population becomes economically invisible, right? Like, and I don't know the answer to that. It just seems scary to me.
there
Like,
is
I don't
literally
know what
a
happens.
How Money Works video that's titled that, I think. That I would recommend to people. I can't link it because I don't have it on hand. But How Money Works is a cool channel, and it does literally like what happens when most people don't matter to the economy, and that is rapidly what the circumstances we're approaching, and it is extremely scary and kind of hard to understand.
Yeah, but again, right? Like, I just want to ground us a little bit.
Not economists.
Like, we're not economists, and plus we're talking about video games, right?
Right.
Not an essential good at all.
No,
Right? Like,
no.
obviously, we can apply everything we're saying about the K-shaped economy to things that actually matter,
Right.
like housing and food,
Yes.
right? But with video games, there are workarounds, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You don't have to play a video game.
Also,
at
like,
launch.
elephant in the room, piracy exists.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, you literally don't have to buy them. You can. I'm not condoning piracy. I've never pirated a current video game. I've pirated emulated games in my past, in my darker days. But yeah, man. Like, if you weren't gonna buy it anyway, whatever, man.
Yeah. And plus, like, some companies are just like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Because, like, the positive word of mouth that
Right.
then gets around by people playing the game end up helping them more in
Right.
the long run. But separate discussion there. But I don't know. I think this was a kind of like an interesting look at, the question. Or not the question, but Jason Schreier's statement. Video games need to be cheaper to buy.
Yeah.
And I think we came up with kind of a complicated answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my thoughts, at least. Like, I think they should be cheaper to buy, but I don't think they have to be.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I land.
Yeah. I agree. I am somewhat in a bubble though, because not only can I afford video games, but most of the
Right,
people that I talk to can afford video games.
Like I said, right? Like,
Yeah.
take everything we said through that lens, right? So obviously,
Yeah.
we could be way off the mark here when compared to the consensus opinion. But okay, are we good on this? Do we want to talk about anything else, or do we want to move into what we're playing?
I'm ready to talk about what I have been playing. Although I think you gave us a little teaser last episode, so you might want to go first.
I'll go ahead. So I've been playing a lot of things actually, but I'm only going to talk about one of them today. I've been playing God of War, Sons of Sparta. So this was the game that they shadow dropped at the State of Play.
Yeah.
Which was an interesting move, right? Like, and it's, I think I told you initially, I was like, oh, I'm going to wait, see how it's received before buying it and playing it. I ended up just buying it and playing it because, like, it is exciting. You don't really ever get a game like made by a major company like Sony that just comes out and no one knows anything about it, right? Like, I didn't know how long it was.
Right.
I didn't know how good it was, right? Like, I didn't know any of those things, and that was kind of exciting for me.
I did see what's his name, David Jaffe, the original creator
David
of God
Jaffe,
of War.
yeah,
He hates it.
He didn't like it very much,
but he's
he's
a
also kind of
moron.
crazy. So
He didn't like
But-
Metroid Dread. His playthrough of Metroid Dread is infuriating to watch.
So my thoughts on this game, I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's kind
Right.
of what I expected looking at it.
Yeah, it's actually such a weird game to think about, because like I'm a few hours in now, and like I'm enjoying it, but like through lack of a better term, like I don't know how to quantify this, but it lacks the sauce.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
which is weird because like technically it's all there, right? It's got a huge map with different areas. It's got unlockable abilities like your Metroidvania trappings. It's got like pretty good combat system, right? Like it takes a lot from like the older God of War games and the newer God of War games and translates them into like a 2D Metroidvania format, which is like pretty creative, right? Like the combat actually has a decent amount of depth.
Yeah,
There's like dodges, there's parrying, there's blocking, there's like all sorts of stuff, right? And there's all sorts of combos you can learn, similar to like the God of War games, right? Like you can unlock the ability to like dodge strike, and like holding a different direction changes your attack. Like so there's a decent amount of depth to the combat. But something's just missing, right? Like it's just it's a game where like the individual components are all there, but I feel like they don't come together to make more than the sum of their parts.
Can I ask like how much of it is because the game doesn't look good? Like does it
I mean, that's definitely a part of it, right? Like, and let's talk about the art style a little bit, I guess. The background art, I think I've actually grown to quite like.
Yeah.
Right? And I love like 2D sprite based games, right? But like, and I think the background, like the parallaxing, all that looks good. But like that juxtaposed with the characters, and the characters themselves don't look good in my opinion. And so it just creates this like weirdly jarring overall visual experience where like if the characters weren't on screen, like it would look like a pretty pixelated game. But the characters being on screen just kind of breaks your brain a little bit. I don't know. That's just how I feel about the art.
Because I
think a lot of people feel similarly.
Like visuals are not the most important thing, but like I don't know. I've done a lot of game jam showcases, and like it matters a lot. I hate to say it as somebody who is not particularly artistically inclined, who tries to make video games sometimes, but like if you're looking at it for a long time, you want it to look good. Like it doesn't need to be the best graphics. Like from a technical perspective, it doesn't need to be the best. But an excellent coherent art style is just so important. And that was the first thing I saw when I looked at this game was that like, oh, I don't want to look at this anymore.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, like even the background, my now not love, but like enjoyment of the backgrounds. Yeah. It was an acquired taste, right? I didn't look at it right away and I was just like, oh, this is gorgeous, right? Like, and granted, you know, like visuals shouldn't be everything, but like it just matters in a game like this where like it feels like there's so many components that don't quite, it's like there's all these puzzle pieces and they mesh together, but they're like all slightly off, right? They're not fitting with each other.
Yeah.
I know that's like a really abstract way of saying what I'm saying, but like it just seems like it's missing something to like tie it all together. I don't know. But like the combat, like I said, I was impressed with like how much depth the combat has, right? In terms like of attacks, in terms of like what you can do, like parry, like I said, dodge, whatever. But like it doesn't actually feel that good to play, right? Like the combat has a lot of depth, but it doesn't feel that good to actually play. And I don't know what that, like why exactly. Like I don't know if it would feel better if the enemies had like more hits done if you hit them, right?
Yeah.
Or if like there was like more sound effects or whatever.
It's missing the game feel. Yeah.
Yeah, the game feel is just
some
not quite there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I do think
that's a shame.
It is a serviceable game, right? It's like a 6 or 7, I would say, right? Like there's a decent amount of production value there. But like, you know, it costs $30, and like
that's actually a little steep,
don't like doing this, but like you compare it to Hollow Knight Silksong, which was $20, and there's just no comparison, right?
Yeah,
like one blows the other completely out of the water.
And Mega Cat is a much bigger studio than Team Cherry. I don't know how much bigger, but
3 people.
It's got to be at least twice as big. Yeah, Mega Cat, their office is pretty big.
Yeah.
They've got a billboard along Bigelow.
But like and you can tell that Sony had a hand in the production of this game. Like if you go into the menus, there's like settings galore, accessibility settings galore, like all that kind of traditional Sony kind of menu presence is there. But also a lot of like the modern Sony kind of AAA annoyances are there too, where like if you take 2 seconds too long to figure out a puzzle, the characters just sort of blurt out the answer. And I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that so much about modern Sony. And that just became a thing with the PS5 generation. I will tell you, as someone who's been playing since PS2.
No, I remember getting really frustrated
PS4
in
did not have
Uncharted
this.
3.
God of War 2018 did not have this.
Yeah.
Right?
But
like
Ragnarok
God
did.
of War Ragnarok had it out the wazoo.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is going on. If their focus
There's
groups are
probably
telling
just some
them like,
executive who's like really stupid and can't figure out the
I have
puzzles.
no idea.
And like,
but like
he doesn't want to feel stupid.
But like that's in this game. Granted, it's not as annoying, I would say, as Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West, but it's there and I noticed it and it made me angry.
Yeah.
So I'm pointing it out. But
And that
yeah,
stuff
like,
should. I don't even think it's bad to have that stuff for what it's worth. It just needs to be toggle on. It needs to be
exactly,
off by
right? Like
default.
make it a setting,
Yeah.
right?
Because like
Even if it's on by default, like the first time it happens, I'll just turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
No harm, no
Yeah.
foul, right? But man, yeah, it's just like it's so frustrating having that experience with a AAA game than playing something like Elden Ring, which respects the player's intelligence,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Respect the player's intelligence, right? That's all I'm gonna say. But like, what else? So, I guess like if you're a real like diehard God of War fan, right? You probably want to play this to experience the story, right? But like even the story is just kind of a wet noodle to me. Like I don't really care about it yet. Maybe it gets interesting a few more hours in. But it is a look at Kratos' early life, and I think this is the earliest we've ever gone back in his life, right? He's a kid in this one. And he has he's with his younger brother Demos.
Mm-hmm. Demos dies, right?
Yeah, he dies in like one of the like side God of War games. Yeah,
that's crazy.
But the game is actually framed like in it takes place in the obviously the Greek era, right? Like before actually God of War 1.
Yeah.
Like and it's Kratos telling the story of his childhood to his daughter who was alive before the events of the God of War trilogy, right? So that's actually kind
the
of
original
cool,
voice
like,
actor.
Narrative no, it's like all new voices, I think.
That's
right
weird.
Like,
that's weird considering they already brought that guy back for
right. Yeah, he kind of sounds like him, but I don't think it's him.
Interesting.
But yeah, so like and that is actually kind of a clever narrative framing where like as you're playing the game, like Calliope, his daughter, will like ask a question, right?
Yeah. And
Kratos will like voice over like what's going on in the game as he's like telling the story of his childhood. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But again, right, like the story itself, not too compelling to me, right? Like it's just Kratos and Deimos like basically doing stuff for the Spartan Nagoge, and like it's cool to see Sparta and whatever, but like it's just like there's been no inciting incident yet. They're just kind of like
how
walking
much
around
time
doing
have you
stuff.
put into it?
Maybe like 2 to 3 hours.
So yeah, it should have gotten going by now.
Right, like
it's not a JRPG.
But apparently, like if you mainline it, it's around 20 hours. If you do everything, it's around around 40 hours, right? So this is like a pretty meaty game. Like it's a pretty meaty Metroidvania.
Yeah.
And I can get this sense of scope as well, right? Like as you explore some parts of the map, you get a sense of like, okay, this is a pretty big map, right? Like, because there's this thing you can do where by the way, the blood orbs are back from the original God of War trilogy. That was a fun touch, right? Like where you open chests.
Okay.
You basically open chests and these blood orbs flow into you, and they're your XP, and you can use them to unlock new moves. And
okay,
stuff.
so it's the same thing as the red, the stuff from Devil May Cry and Bayonetta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like directly pulled from the original God of War trilogy, and that was fun seeing that referenced again. But you can expend these orbs in certain parts of the map to basically uncover. It doesn't uncover the whole map for you, but it shows you where a lot of the points of interest are.
Okay.
So like, and like, I think I have like 4 out of 18 or 19, right? So it's a pretty big freaking map, right? Yeah. So it's a sizable game, which like makes me want to like keep playing, because I wonder if there's some sort of inciting incident or some moment where the game clicks, but it's just like
there's a lot of good games around right now to play.
Right now I'm also like most of the time last week I was playing Persona 3 Reload, right? I'm flying through my
Neo's
replay
on
of
your
that.
radar, right?
Neo's on my radar too, but like, dude, I was just like, I don't want to sweat right now. Like sometimes you just don't want to sweat, and Neo is a very sweaty game, and I'm just like, I just want to be comfy.
No, that's why I haven't come back to Sekiro yet.
Yeah, and Mario Tennis is out too, and I played a little bit of that. I'm just like, there's a lot of games fighting for my attention.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil's coming out very, very soon.
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, if I'm going to play more of this game, it probably has to be in the next few days. But, like, it's... And this is coming from someone who played God of War 1, 2, 3, 2018, one of my favorite games ever, and then Ragnarok, also, like, an insanely good game, in my book. someone who's like a pretty big God of War fan, in other words, I'm just like kind of meh on this.
Yeah.
Right? So unless you're like a die-hard, like God of War is your favorite thing ever. In that case, I would be like, yeah, you play this, you'll probably get a lot out of it. But if you're not, right, like if you're more of like a casual to like even my level fan, I would be like, your time's probably best spent in other places. Because like even when you look at a Metroidvania, right, like it is a solid Metroidvania, but that's a problem when you look at the contemporaries in the genre, right? There's so many freaking good Metroidvanias out there, right?
Yeah.
You look at Metroid, you look at Metroid Dread, right? Specifically, if you're looking for a modern one,
Super Metroid.
look at Hollow Knight,
Symphony of the
right?
Night. Yeah. Like
Castlevania, yeah. It's just we're inundated now
Bloodstained.
with like
Yeah.
extremely good Metroidvanias. So
Axiom Verge 2, quite good.
Yeah.
I didn't love the first one as much, but Axiom Verge 2 is great.
So yeah, it's just kind of a weird game because like on paper, right, it should be good because like a lot of the individual mechanics are good. Like I said, the combat, a lot of depth to it. It's fun learning the combos and stuff, but it feels like a wet noodle.
Yeah.
The art style kind of feels like a wet noodle, right? And the sound also kind of feels like a wet noodle, right? So like when you combine all those things, it's a game that kind of lacks a punch.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I feel about it.
That's tough.
So, yeah. It is what it is. I do think it's an interesting like experiment, right? Like shadow dropping this and seeing how it does.
Yeah.
I wonder, like cuz you'd think that like it just saying God of War, a lot of people bought it sight unseen. I wonder how those people feel. All right, that's it for me. How about you, Connor?
I have finished Leon Kennedy's story in Resident Evil 2.
Dude, yes.
And I'm going to spoil the whole thing, I think, here. I think it's a pretty old game now.
That's fair.
There is, like, if you are a Resident Evil fan, there's, like, some stuff that is spoilable in here, maybe, if you somehow haven't played this. I think if you don't know Resident Evil, you're not going to understand what I'm saying enough for it to matter to you. So, like, don't worry about it too much. But this game starts pretty good, I think. Like, well, let me talk about the stuff that's bad first, because there's not that much of it. The main thing is, like, this is an older game. It's an older modern game, like an older RE Engine game, and they have not updated it to fix RE Engine's broken HDR. All of these early RE Engine games have horrible broken HDR. It doesn't work on my machine. I've seen most people on PC just played it in SDR because it just doesn't work. I've seen on some people saying that it looks a little better on consoles, but if you actually like analyze the data, it's like HDR crushed to the SDR range or something. Like it's still wrong on consoles as well. And that's too bad because this game would be gorgeous, but it's like super elevated blacks. The game is gray a lot of the time, but I just kind of sucked it up and met the game where it was at, which is just what you should do sometimes, and played through it and had a great time. And like once I was just immersed in the game, I wasn't seeing all that anymore so much. So into the good.
Exploring that police station as Leon is a special thing.
It's quite thrilling. I really like. I'm always hesitant of horror games where you can kill the enemies. I always think that's like a lesser horror game.
Yeah, I mean, like I would classify Resident Evil as like action horror or whatever, right? Like I wouldn't.
This game did scare me though, like more than maybe any horror game since Amnesia 1. Like this game, the Blair Witch Project scared me a little, but I like I jumped. Like there was a jump scare that got me. There's like a locker you open and a body falls out of that startled me.
Oh yeah.
But I like the mechanical side of this, where it's like any one zombie is very easy to dispatch. But should you try to like stun them and run past them or something? Which windows can you afford to board up? Because you don't have enough ammo. Like you literally, there's not enough ammo in the game to kill every zombie. It's
an exercise of resource management, that's what is key to a good horror game. I think resource management.
Definitely think this style. Yeah, I agree. And it was quite good where it was, I was measuring my resources, and there are times in the game where you feel very flush with resources and you get spindy, And then there are times, like, there are boss fights in the game where it's like, oh, I am supposed to leave this with no resources. Like, I'm supposed to expend my resources here, basically, to make this problem go away. And I really liked that. I usually hate boss fights in a game like this, but I thought they were quite good here. But the moment this game...
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Became gas to me is you're talking to a guy in a jail cell, and an arm busts through the wall and crushes his skull. And it's Nemesis. And I did not know Nemesis was in this game. I'm familiar with Nemesis from Resident Evil 3. But I did.
So this is it's Mr. X.
It's Mr. X in this one?
Nemesis.
But it's the same
3.
idea, right?
No, they're same idea. They're different creatures or whatever.
Okay, but it's a completely unkillable character that is chasing you around.
Yeah.
And
that's when he was introduced, I was just like, I understand the hype around this game.
Well, he wasn't in the original. He's not in Resident Evil 2 original. He is an addition in the remake. I looked it up because I was like, I'm certain that this mechanic started in RE3. And it did originally. This was
Dude, it's such a brilliant implementation.
It is. And the surround sound implementation in this game.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like,
dude,
I never had to turn around to see if he was there because I knew I could pinpoint exactly where he is and exactly how far away he is from his footsteps.
Right, like there were moments where I was just like, I'm a floor above him or whatever. And I'm like listening really closely and I hear faint footsteps below me and then they start getting louder. I'm like, okay, I gotta move,
yeah.
It's
and sometimes you have
good.
to kite him. Like I had times where he's in the room I need to be in. So I'm like kiting him all
the
way
him in the head and then run
to the other, like I dragged him all the way to the other end of the police department and then would run as fast as I could back to the room I needed, solve the puzzle I was working on. And he's actually not chasing you for that much of the game, but it is the most memorable, and he shows back up later.
It gets your heart rate up though.
Yeah, oh my god, does it? I went from this is a good game to oh, this is why people love Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I was also very impressed. I apparently opened every safe in the game, which is not something I normally do. I went back,
nice.
I solved some optional puzzles, stuff like that. I was impressed at the puzzles for being not completely trivial, but not very difficult, which I think is the sweet spot for a horror game.
Yeah.
Because I played a bit of Silent Hill 1 a long time ago, and I remember getting to this piano puzzle, and the moment you have to look something up sucks, and I did. I could not solve.
I do hear the puzzles in Silent Hill are notoriously difficult / annoying.
The other thing that Resident Evil didn't quite get right for me is I did die a few times, and I do think once you die, you're experiencing frustration sometimes more than horror. The exception to that was Mr. X, I guess is his name. Him killing me was scary every time. Because there's not even a big flashy he kills you scene or anything. It's usually just he hits you hard and you die.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. He was mechanically scary. I felt a very similar thing to him that I feel for the zombies in Peak. Just a primal fear of
primal fear. It's just
that I can't,
unstoppable force coming at you.
Yeah. I really, really, really like him. I just really like this game in general though. I liked the campy dialogue was doing it for me a little bit.
It's so fun.
Leon and Ada being weird about I wanted to trust you, but I realized I can't. Or I realized I don't, dude, or something.
Leon's so funny. Yeah.
Shut up, dude. Also, this is clearly I don't know if Claire's in the original. I hate my lack of knowledge about the original, but there's this.
I don't know either, and I never actually played her. I just played Leon's.
Oh, really? I think I'm gonna play Claire, but I do have half a mind to just pick up 7 and 8.
RE4.
Oh yeah, 4, 7, and 8, and play through all of them before 9 comes out.
Oh yeah, well definitely 4 because it seems like 9 is it's Leon again, right? So
it's Leon, 2, but 9 is supposed to be the conclusion of the 7, 8, 9 trilogy apparently.
Oh yeah.
So
have you not played 7 and 8? I thought we've talked about.
I very briefly played 7 and it did not grab me at all.
Mm-hmm. They're a lot different from 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And 4, right?
Yeah, so, but now I'm
different style.
I'm man, maybe I should have given him a chance.
Yeah, I think 7 and 8 are good in a different way.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy them quite a bit. But I don't think anything touches 2 and 4 specifically are the crown.
I think I am gonna skip
Resident
3
Evil.
for now, just because I've heard it's so short.
That's fair.
And I
Yeah.
don't think that the story's going to come up. Like, Jill's not in 9 as far as we know.
Yeah. And plus, like, dude, gun to my head, I wouldn't know anything about the Resident Evil
Oh,
story.
really? I'm
Like,
kind of into it. I'm kind
Really?
of
Yeah.
like the G virus and the like. It's
Okay, yeah,
the camp and stuff. I think I'm kind of into it. So
yeah, okay.
yeah, and that's kind of why I want to play Claire's story, because you get a different ending supposedly when you like it tells you you will get a different ending if you finish the second mission, which I think a lot of things are different second mission. Like I think Claire's is shorter, maybe. I don't know. It definitely feels like, I don't know. But where I was going with this is like they definitely try to build up a weird friendship between Claire and Leon, even though they spend like less than 2 minutes of screen time
Yeah, they
together.
only like briefly encounter each other
Yeah.
throughout, like maybe like 3 or 4 times in the game.
Like they meet and they ride a car together into the city, which I guess we don't know how long they were together in that. And then they get split up when the car explodes. And then Leon plays for a while. But Claire's story actually opens with this scene where like Claire walks up. And if you're playing Claire's story, it's been like literally 30 seconds since you last saw Leon. And that's why I'm wondering if maybe they made some changes because I did hers second or something. But you walk up to the fence and Leon's there and it's like, oh, it's good to see you. Like, how are you doing? And it's like, it's been 10 What do you mean it's good to see you? Like, you just saw him.
I think, dude, Leon's just a weirdo.
And also,
like, I think it
just
comes down
met.
to that.
Like, this is so, it's so strange.
He's hilarious.
It was funny to play these with the context of like knowing Devil May Cry was originally a Resident Evil game as well. Like Devil May Cry 1
Oh
was
yeah,
originally...
Leon totally looks like a Devil May Cry character.
Yeah, it does. Like, yeah, it totally makes sense. I'm just, I don't know. I'm a little enamored with it. The whole thing, I liked the weird sewer. I liked the weird underground lab.
Oh yeah.
Like the
Sewer.
massive tonal shift when you suddenly get to this like high-tech lab.
Yeah. Although I will say, like, I'm just trying to remember my thoughts on this game because it's been so long. I think level-wise, the police station was the highlight.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah.
quite matched the highs of the police station.
No,
So I did miss that a
sewers-
little bit.
The lab was like mercifully short. I didn't mind the lab at all.
Yeah, that's where the game
sewers-
ends, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's the yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
fight Doctor whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
The husband who has injected himself with the G virus. You kill him down there. But the part that the game was really starting to lose me, and I could feel that I was nearing the end, so I pushed through. But the sewers, there was some serious like where the hell do I go time spent in the sewers.
Yeah, I remember feeling that a little bit. Yeah.
And it wasn't even that like I knew where I needed to get, and I knew that I had been there before, but I was just finding the map very difficult to understand. Like it was just very twisty and turny, and like there were places where there were grates where you could see where you needed to go, but you couldn't get there, and that was very frustrating to me. I didn't like that so much. So, but overall, like, yeah, I highly recommend this game. I thought it was a blast. Do you think the problem I'm up against right now is, do I buy Resident Evil 4 or do I play Claire? And I don't know yet.
I would move on to 4.
You would?
I think that's what I would do if I were you, especially considering the proximity to.
And I could
Evil
come
9.
back to Claire another time.
Yeah,
That's
what I would do.
That is tempting.
But
Because I just don't think I have time. What's the release date of Resident Evil 9? Because if I have like 3 weeks, I may just...
I think you have less than 2. I think you have like a week and a half, dude.
That's tough. That's very tough. Why is the release date not the first thing that comes up? Oh god, it comes out the 27th, so I have 10 days to play through.
Oh yeah, 10 days. Yeah.
So I would have to play...
That's very tough.
I'm not going to be able to get through...
No, you can't get through the whole series.
No,
You
2,
have to
4,
pick-
7,
You have
8.
to pick
Yeah.
here. Yeah, if you're gonna do it.
I think I'll be okay not playing 7 and 8 before 9.
I think I would play 4.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
would
I
play
would do.
4.
But you did say you're like more invested in the story, so
I am, and I
just 4 is just like the best one though.
I
Like,
didn't
straight up,
realize
so.
that 8 was a sequel to 7. Like, I mean, obviously, like, obviously 8
Well,
is the
yeah,
one that comes out.
I
to
get
7,
you,
but like,
yeah.
I didn't realize that they were and I think a lot of people didn't. I think it comes up like halfway through the
But
game.
7 and 8, like they have the same protagonist.
Oh, really?
But like they're nowhere to be seen in 9.
I did not know they had the
protagonists
same
for 7 and 8.
protagonist.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
And plus, the protagonist doesn't really matter because you're in first person the whole time.
Right.
So
Do you think you're gonna play 9 first person or third person? Oh, you said you were gonna play
Dude,
Leon
yeah,
third person.
I want to. Playing Leon third person just feels right. That would not feel. It would feel weird playing him first person, but like the other protagonist, yeah, I'd probably do first person.
I'm probably gonna play
Get
both
the
third
best of both
person.
worlds.
I'm a
Yeah.
third person gamer.
I just wonder, like, how do they design the game initially? Because, like, you've
I
got to
know.
think, like, one way's got to be better. And probably first person will be better, right? Because that's how modern Resident Evil has been rolling for the past several years, which kind of concerns me. But I guess we'll see when the game comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I actually suspect it's going to be how you are going to play it. Like, it's Leon. I bet they even tell you. I bet they tell you, because Capcom does that all the time, where they're like, hey, we'll let you do it a little wrong. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the
I mean, they've got to know, right?
What's
Like,
the
we
girl's name?
need to see Leon, like, you know, roundhouse kicking fools in the face.
I feel bad for not knowing the blonde girl's name.
In 9?
Yeah.
She's a new character, right?
Yeah, I know, but surely they've told us her name. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Grace.
Grace. Okay. Yeah, because her mom's saying her name a bunch in one of the trailers. Yeah. I don't know. I was excited for it before. I'm a lot more excited for it now. I'm probably gonna give Claire's story and the old college try tonight. And if I get bored, I'll buy 4.
All right, yeah. I think that's a solid plan.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can you beat 4 before 9 comes out? I don't know.
I don't know that
They're not
care.
that long of games,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
I don't know if I need to beat 4 before 9 comes out. Like, because like
Yeah,
you
I don't
said,
think
the
you do.
story, like,
The story's whatever. It's not like
I think the story
know,
is like good.
it's fine.
Like I like
It's
it,
just there.
but I don't think it's
Yeah.
spoilable. Like, if I
you don't. I don't care enough about like the characters or what's going on to really be cared about spoilers. Honestly, it's just the experience of playing a Resident Evil game that I'm into.
Yeah, I think it's just told in such a way that like I don't really care what order I learn things in. Like,
Yeah.
if I had known,
I agree with that.
If I had known that, like, I picked up very early that the big monster chasing me was the scientist. I picked up that very quickly. So it was
Yeah.
not a particularly big reveal in 2. So like having known that the entire game would not have bothered me. So like if there are reveals like that, that's fine. Now you did say that they show the police station in 9, right?
Yeah, and the
That's
latest
crazy.
like insanely spoilery trailer. That's what they ended on. Like
Yeah.
Leon coming back to the police station. Now you understand why that's
That's
such
a
big
little
deal.
crazy
Like,
because I didn't know the
yeah.
lab was under it. That is crazy.
yeah. So
So
I don't know where they're going with that.
Is there a remake of 1 to play? Like, is Resident Evil 1 worth playing in any way?
So not like a remake to the extent they remade 2 and 3 and 4,
Okay.
but there was like an older remake of it, which kind of modernizes it.
I may just play
but
the
it's-
original then.
I still think it's either. I think it's worth either playing the original or waiting until they inevitably go back and do like the Resident Evil remake treatment.
Who's the protagonist of? Is it Jill?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know if I care.
I care a little. Like, I'm curious where it all started. But
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 was a very good just pick up and play it game. Like, I didn't feel like I was missing anything. It was very cool.
Right. All right.
Great game.
You got anything else?
Big Monster Hunter update today, but no. That's in 3 hours. I'm excited for it.
Well, let's. I don't know. Maybe if Mike's busy, we can do a Resident Evil 9 kind of.
Could be
Episode.
fun. Although that will not be next week. That'll be in 2 weeks at the
Right,
earliest.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, wait.
Exciting times.
If we record on Thursday, it'll be the day it comes out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be a couple weeks if we
Yeah.
do end up doing it. Yeah. But that's a thought. But for now, thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can click the link in the description of the episode to join our Discord and talk to us there. And please like, rate, and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other podcast services you use. Thanks, Connor.
Yeah. See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.